Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Z2R standard tournament match. Here we have Frico and Victor Santa Fe in the booth, and I'll let them take over.
Good evening, guys. Here we are with another match of the Swiss round 3 of the Zelda 2 Randomizer. I have here with me Frico. How are you doing, man?
Well, a little better now since I don't have the spirally circles of death plaguing me like the previous race. So hopefully this will go a little better since I'll actually be able to see what's happening.
Yeah, the first like 3-4 minutes of that race were really hard to track, but well, thankfully it got better. So yeah, let's hope this one goes way better. So, can you tell us about this match we have tonight? What are the current situation of both players?
Well, I think it's unfortunately not so good. I believe. Oh no, I stand corrected. Both of our runners are 1-1. I was about to say they were both 0-2, but that is not the case. I know may not have worked out too well for Dr. J, PhD in the first round, but I believe he was able to run it back in round 2, picking up a win.
Yeah, we see Dr. J PhD picking up the spell out of the town of Rauru, and Xarnax following suit.
Wow, Dr. J finding Great Palace straight away as well. Right next door to the Northern Palace.
Yeah.
Once we get all the palaces out of the way, at least it's not a long trip to get back to the Great Palace after up and A-ing from wherever their last palace.
Okay, and Trophy Cave for Dr. J PhD and for Xarnax now. So we'll see what's in there.
Well, Dr. J PhD has made what I think is probably the right move, holding off on picking up Life 2 not too far away from Attack 2, which, well, I think will be of much bigger benefit.
Yeah, especially in this. Well, I'm not used to that, and I hate doing Zelda 2 math while I'm playing, but in this kind of seed where you don't have mixed enemies, I think it is safe to rack up some attack levels at the beginning and maybe hold off on taking some life levels, so you can use the gems at the maximum at their maximum capacity.
Well, the only unfortunate part for Dr. J PhD is that he has happened upon a red Daira, and if you make one misstep, you're unfortunately pretty much done for. He's pushed the Daira a little too far back, and this little jumping pain in the ass is gonna mess up the whole fight for him, pretty much.
Yeah, the thing with Dairas at this point is that they take a lot of hits, like more than 10 hits. So, and sometimes they throw double hammers, which makes things really unpredictable.
So Xarnax kind of sort of ahead in life levels, but I'm never a fan of these early life levels because it does take away your ability. Oh, what is this nonsense? 1,000-point P-Bag dropping Ay, ay, ay.
10
This-
handles are coming.
Well, mark it down. We got ourselves about a 45-minute seed on our hands. We're
Hopefully
gonna
for
just
the
have,
players.
all the levels for free.
Okay, so Xarnax finding Bagu. We don't see Bagu that often, but with the new updates, we will probably see Bagu more often than you think.
Well, Dr. J is finding Palace 4, and I'm a little surprised with this decision to go into Palace 4 for Dr. J PhD.
Well, in his matches, he has shown that he likes to take an early dig at the palaces. I don't know. I kind of believe it's something about maybe figuring out he needs to take like some risks to win races against someone like Xarnax42, which is a great player. He is the winner of the Routing Royale tournament we just had some months ago. So, but yeah, this tournament, particularly Dr. J PhD has entered palaces in all of the matches he's had. And curiously enough, there's Xarnax in a palace too.
Now, with the ugly blue, I could not even make out the columns.
Yeah, Xarnax is in Palace 1. And he's key blocked in this room.
Well, that's what drives me up a wall is, okay, you want to go get an item. You need keys or fairy or something like that before you're really in business. So palaces are a little tough at this point.
Yeah, for a player that plays really, I don't know, in a very straight way, like Rose City saying, they wouldn't be doing this at all. Rose City Saint says the palaces won't go away, so you don't need to enter them when you don't need to do so. But we will see if we will pay for either of them. It's a bet. It's a risk they are taking. And there's a key for Xarnax, and that's another thing about these seats. I believe, I'm not really sure, but I believe these seats include what we call extra keys in palaces, and that means that every piggyback will be transformed into a key, and the keys will remain being keys. So there are a lot more keys. So that makes
that was
palaces
a key bag for Xarnax. So I mean, it looks like the keys are just in the drop pool because Dr. J did find a key in his drop pool. Xarnax having the benefit of at least 1,000 point drop so far. I do not believe Dr. J has been given such generosity.
Yeah, the thing is, the drops help, and that's part of what makes you take that decision. But yeah, for example, Xarnax is getting a piggyback where there should have been a key if I was right. So yeah, I'm not really confident about what I said like 2 minutes ago.
Well, it's definitely a possibility, but it looks like Alan Heffley confirming that the extra keys are turned off with this particular flag set. And Dr. J PhD is in what would be a potential key area, but instead finding a P-bag, and it was only 20 points. Little rough going there for Dr. J PhD in the luck category so far, but we're 8 minutes 45 seconds in, and Xarnax has dumpstered Horsehead, placing our
Yeah.
first gem.
And he also got the item out of this palace, so it paid off for him. Let's see if
It
Dr.
was
J
a
has this
magic
thing.
jar, but I guess, it could be worse, for certain.
Yeah, an early magic container is not that bad.
They just need some spells to cast, that's all.
Yeah. And we have a boulder blocked cave near to Mito. And we have the town of Sadia.
So, going into Palace 1, at least from a logic perspective, is a sequence break. So the item that they would have found in Palace 1 was not likely to lead to something else.
Well, unless, for example, in this town you will have found Fairy spell, but which isn't, because Xarnax is just picking up the Reflect spell. Or in one of the caves, they will have found the magic key.
Well, see, now this puts Palace 4 almost in logic, because they're still missing Fairy, they're still missing the any key, so it's a little rough to ask, hey, go into a palace without keys, even though the logic of the randomizer expects you to have either the key, the magic key, or the fairy spell. It does not factor in, oh, well, we're going to put enough keys in between, start and finish of a palace to let you get through. That's not always the case.
No, and the logic doesn't take that into account. The keys it gives you, it doesn't take it into account. Just if you have the fairy or the magic key.
Well, unfortunately, Dr. J ended up dunking a pea bag into the lava, which I believe will cost him 200 points, but hopefully Dr. J will be able to pick up a double level here, but no, doesn't look like it. He'll fall a little short. Horsehead definitely not going to give him 320 XP.
Yeah, the maximum that Horsehead can give you is 100 points. And Xarnax finding an item room of, I believe, Palace 4. But he doesn't have a key, probably. Yeah, I think he doesn't. So that's why he's walking out of that room.
Yeah, I just am not sure why Xarnax is going into a palace. Not that I really... Palace 1 seems to be an outlier because it had enough keys to let you progress through. Dr. J finding another key in the drop pool. It just feels like Xarnax is going to end up chasing ghosts, it feels like. Dr. J, you have no business in this town. Get out of there. There you go.
And Xarnax gets a key. Maybe the reason Xarnax is in palaces is because he's seeing that keys are dropping kind of frequently. So he's confident that he can farm a key when he needs it. And it's another magic container. So he already has the power of 7. That lady will give him access if he needs it.
Well, at least Xarnax was wise enough to abandon ship and not try to continue the madness of Palace 4 And it looks like Dr. J is about to pick up, or actually he has picked up Reflect, so we'll see what is in store for him. But it looks like Dr. J not interested in this cave. Xarnax, on the other hand, is. Possible mistaken identity for Dr. J, or Xarnax using it for the pass-through.
Yeah, that was a pass-through.
Back end of Saria for Xarnax.
And Xarnax visited Bagu, so if he needs it, he can go through it. But however, it's not that useful because it's faster to go through Parapa Cave, as he just did. So yeah, visiting Bagu isn't useful in this one. And another 1000 payback for Xarnax. So yeah, nice drops today.
I am personally not a fan of the 1000-point P-bag, but to each their own. I mean, it just feels like, alright, sometimes, you just have to take the training wheels off and actually learn how to play the game. 1000-point P-bags don't help that. But,
yeah, they will be useful in Max Rando. They will compensate the nightmare that Max Rando is. But yeah, in this it's kind of funny.
There. That is true. Max Rando could probably use the 1000-point P-bags. Standard like this, I feel they're overkill. I think 500 is plenty.
The good thing is that, well, the new version that Dickshake is working on has some ways to compensate for that kind of thing. For example, you will be able to cap your level. So, for example, you can decide that in this race, the players will only get to attack 5, and after that, they will get 1-ups whenever they reach a new attack level. So yeah, there are some options that will change the racing system of this game a lot.
Oh wow!
And the 8th magic container, 16 minutes in for Xarnax. That's funny.
Yeah, Dr. J is just a dip into Palace 4 away from having all the magic containers himself, as it looks like Dr. J and Xarnax both not too interested in that cave. So, my question is, where's the progression hiding here? Because I don't readily see, any kind of progression unless we're meant to be diving Death Mountain?
Well, we're missing 2 of the caves, and I believe, yeah, we're missing 2 of the caves, and we'll see if any one of those has a raft or something. And it's a hard container for Dr. J.
Yeah, we've seen this cave already for Dr. J, so
yeah,
Dr.
the ones
J
that
picking up 5th Heartkin.
Yeah, the ones that we haven't seen are Medicine Cave and Hard Container Cave. And we see Xarnax taking a quick peek inside that mountain, which doesn't seem to be a quick peek anymore because he's diving a cave.
I believe Xarnax was actually in Death Mountain previously, kind of poked his head in and went, alright, I did not immediately find the Hammer Cave, so I will come back later. And it looks like
he finds a rock that there are only 2 caves that lead to that rock, so that's a good find in case he needs to come back with the hammer and get the item out of the rock.
Well, this is definitely a interesting start for the runners. It looks like Dr. J is not too thrilled about having to go through Death Mountain either. And look at what we found for Xarnax.
Yeah. He found both locations in a really short time.
So what I'm kind of hoping here is Vanilla Hammer in Hammer Cave, leading to a raft or any key. And Xarnax going out of his way a little bit to pick up the peanuts of experience to get another life. Stop this madness, Xarnax.
Yeah, and this seed has something that could confuse some players. And it is that the raft tile is way deep into the west of the Western continent, because there's a river that goes all the way to the west, and the raft tile is kind of in the west of this continent. So yeah, that's weird. And that's another thing that will happen a lot in the new version. The raft tile could be anywhere, even in Death Mountain or Maze Island.
I like it. Xarnax actually finding the glove.
Wow.
So that means we're looking at... No, that was the glove for Xarnax, not Dr. J. But Dr. J does have Reflect. So now it's the hunt for Medicine Cave or Heart Container Cave at this point, as to where the raft could possibly be.
Yeah, and Xarnax is right there. He is in Heart Container Cave. There is no other option at this point. It has to be something that gives him Fairy, Magic Key, or the raft.
Well, it could give him the hammer because it would reopen Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, you're
as a possibility,
right.
But there's the raft for Xarnax, so no need to hunt that sucker down anymore. So it looks like our progression is the raft in the Heart Container Cave. Do you think we're going to get jebaited by Medicine Cave perhaps having a useful item?
Yeah, something like a flute, a required flute, or a required boots, or something like that. It could happen. Now the thing is that Xarnax has to find that raft tile. Well, he has seen it and he's going through it, and as you can see, the raft tile is in the west, almost.
Well, it looks like a potential boots issue here in the east. Definitely a tile there blocking, any kind of movement to the south.
Yeah, and in the update, okay, here we have the glitch that does the raft of animation when he enters that cave, and that happens because in the Western continent that connector is in the same place, the raft connector. So the game asks for the animation when you find an encounter in that tile. So that's why it happens, and it happens sometimes. It's funny. It's kind of creepy when you're playing and that happens. It kind of makes you think for a second that the game crashed or something weird happened. But yeah, it's just funny. So as I was saying with the update, the boots will gain probably a lot of importance, especially if you choose an option that will build the overworld with the theme of islands. So islands are like chunks of land with things in them that are separated by water all over the place, and they are connected by bridges or by caves that lead to each other, or sometimes they are boot required. So in that kind of seed, the boots will be fundamental for navigation.
That seems interesting and also horrifying all the same. To have, one item be so completely necessary added to the list where, oh, I can't get to this island where, well, you actually had it, I think, in the daily, or excuse me, not the daily, the weekly, where you needed the boots to get into Maze Island. It happened to Rose City Saint on the restream. I'm not sure if it happened to you.
Yeah, to everybody, they were required. The boots were required last night. And Dr. J about to pick up the magic container in P4, about to get his full magic container count.
All right,
so yeah, the thing about islands in the new update is I've seen with the seeds that Dickshake and other guys have played, and even I have played. I played one this afternoon. Is that the game tends to give you the boots. If you use islands, the game tends to give you the boots kind of early. So life isn't a nightmare for you, but anything can happen. So there could be one seed where you need, where boots are really convenient, but they are really deep inside somewhere in the overworld. So yeah, we'll see what happens. The thing is that this new rando will give us a lot of options. Everything is, you can turn off everything, and depending on what's fun to race or not, I guess we will decide what kind of flag set we will use when we race. And helmet head for Xarnax.
Yeah, to answer a question in chat, Dr. J, I believe, has one less 1,000-point P-bag than Xarnax has so far. But a little more concerning is Xarnax has finished 2 palaces now with Helmet Head out of the way, and Dr. J seems intent on having a go at Karok, potentially, at the end of Palace 4. But it looks like Xarnax is going to have to use this pass-through cave if he plans on doing anything on the east.
Yeah, this kind of seems like the only way out of here.
Dr. J, PhD, didn't seem too thrilled about where he was, up and A-ing, and it looks like he's going to try to find a new way through Palace 4. Ooh, Xarnax finding jump required on desert tile.
Yeah, that one only leads to either a P-bag or a jar or a 1-up. But yeah, if you enter that one without jump, you cannot get anything out of it. And that's another new thing that will happen. Well, Xarnax just got the fairy spell out of Old Kazuto. But
so
yeah,
that gives Xarnax finally the ability, at least from a logic perspective, to go into the palaces.
Yeah, and we just saw that New Kasuto is hammer blocked. It is a forest style. And yeah, as I was gonna say, one of the new features, well, there are some tiles, forest encounters that are not so important because they have either jars or pea bags or even there are some that only have enemies like the forest tiles that surround Bagu in vanilla. Those will in the new rando, in the new update, you will have the possibility of having them hide in their terrain. So you can be walking in the forest and get accidentally into one of the Bagu encounters. But Bagu, for example, will remain to be a single tile like it is now. So that's why I said at the beginning of the race that we will probably be seeing Bagu way more often, because he will be the only forest tile in the Western continent that will be isolated. The other ones will be hidden inside the forest.
Interesting. Xarnax picking up upstab. So we'll see what I think Xarnax trying to coax somebody to come out of their house, and they're just not interested in doing so.
Yeah, the what happens is that when you get the hint, or when you ask for the hint inside the house, sometimes you can despawn the healing lady. And Xarnax getting the fire spell, which could be combined with anything. He tested it, and we still don't know, I believe.
Well,
oh no, it was a
out...
shield. I believe it was shield because she turned purple. I could be wrong, but I think she was purple inside the house.
Well, right now, yep, yeah, it certainly does look like shield to me. It's changed colors to signify that it was shield. I'm pretty convinced it's shield at this point. Well, it wasn't jump or fairy, that much we knew. Certainly not spell, because it would have turned things into the bots. Unfortunately for Dr. J, he seems to be having a hell of a time here trying to find the raft, but he did take down Karox, so, at least getting something out of this somewhat painful exploration on the west.
Yeah, thankfully he's in that mountain, because he will find something he needs. There's the glove in that mountain. Hopefully he stays there until he finds it. And I did Dr. J PhD defeat Karoq?
Yes, he did.
Okay, let me mark it. So Xarnax about to pick up a spell in the Thirsty Lady town of Naboru. So I'm sorry if I'm boring you with the new updates, but I'm excited, and I hope people in chat are also excited about the new features we will get. But one of the new features is that the town signs will give you the name of the spell they have. So that way players will choose if they want to go through the town or not. And I believe that's great, because one of the least fun things that you have to do in this game is walking around, and especially walking through towns. So yeah, I welcome that change. I think it's great, and it will put the priority of finding another things and fighting, and yeah, most probably, I guess, races will become faster with this update.
So I get it for a newer player. that might need, a little bit of help. For me, I would never want that turned on. Because part of the allure of the randomizer is, well, I could have a random spell. Going into insert town here, do I need the trophy? Do I need the child? Do I need the medicine? These are all parts of the randomizer to me that makes the randomizer unique in that sense.
Yeah, and I get you. And for example, today I had mixed feelings about some things like the islands and things. But when you play it, you feel like the attention is led towards another things. But yeah, the thing that will decide what is when we race and we see, well, it's boring to find out what the towns have inside. It was more fun when we had to walk through the towns and get the spells we didn't want to get. So we will see when we race. But yeah, at least we have the option now. We will have the option now.
Xarnak, don't you have upstab? Can't you just upstab that block and... I'm confused. But, at least for me, it feels like not knowing if the, spell items are needed, kind of popping my head into, I believe it's Mido, however you want to say it, where you would normally have to turn in the medicine and usually get your downstab. If you just check the thing and it says, oh, well, this spell is shield. Well, now I know I have no want, need, nor desire to pick up the medicine. So if it shows up at the end of an item cave, I can just up an A and ignore it completely. Yeah. I don't think I like that from just a general standpoint of how I think the randomizer should be. And after all of this struggle, Dr. J finally picking up the location of the Hammer Cave. In a little bit of trouble here, but we'll see if he can actually maneuver his way through.
Yeah, meanwhile, Xarnax just got the boots out of Palace 3. I believe that's Palace 3. So, yeah, and I get what you say. And for example, there's a feature right now in the randomizer that we very rarely use. We use it like when we want to be fast, when we want a fast race or something like that, and that's called remove spell items. And that means that you won't the trophy, the medicine, and the kit won't exist in the seed. And yeah, that's an option, but it didn't turn out to be a popular option, but it is there. If you want to race it, it is there. So yeah, we will see. We will race with these new features and we will see what's fun and what's not fun. But it is great to have the option there.
I mean, I get it. It definitely lowers the barrier of entry for a new player to get accustomed to how the randomizer works. In that sense, for someone that is just starting out, okay, give them training wheels. Let them, learn how to ride the bike, as it were. But I also am not too thrilled about the idea of, having a competitive race, say a tournament of some kind, have that particular flag, I'm just not a fan of.
Yeah, for example, today, what that entailed for me in that seed is that I ended up the seed without shield, without life, without down stab. I chose not to get down stab. I got up stab because I believe reflect was in Darunia, so that's why I got up stab. And well, of course, I game over in GP because I was shieldless, lifeless, down stabless, and I was even raftless. That's another of the beauties of this new update is that the raft is no longer 100% required. So yeah, I don't know. I think it adds more flavors to the seed and it adds variety, and we will see what ends up being fun or not. For example, the 10 handle bags are kind of a new feature, and we didn't have too much time to test those out to find out that they kind of make the game a little bit boring in terms of fighting and surviving. But in this case, I believe we will have enough time to choose a really good flag set for the next standard tournament, or even for the max random tournament next year.
I mean, for max rando, certain things work better than they would. Oh, Dr. J PhD picking up his raft a little bit after Xarnax. Dr. J also found the glove at the end of the Hammer Cave. So even with taking so long and finding the progression, Dr. J isn't really too far behind. Xarnax, I believe, finished Palace 3, so Dr. J could even up the score by going into Palace 2, which is still on the Western continent, but I think Xarnax is very likely to be rewarded by finding Maze Island. Two items in the maze, plus another one potentially in the palace itself, unless it's Palace 5, which I don't think we're really wanting to go digging into, if we can help it, for an item.
Yeah, the thing is, I believe we still don't know if this is flute required. I don't know if we've seen 2 palaces in the overworld of the Eastern continent. We've seen one, I believe, and that was Palace 2, if I'm not wrong. And
I believe
yeah,
it was Palace 3, because Xarnax...
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, flute could still be a thing. So another 10 handle for Xarnax inside one of the maze locations.
I mean, at this point in the game, the 1,000-point P-bags aren't as relevant, but when you get a 1,000-point P-bag straight away, it's like, oh, I just have level 3 everything, and, you know, I don't know. I am just not a fan of those high-value P-bags. Just... you know, not my thing. But we will see. We have, I believe, Palace 5 and Palace 6 yet to be discovered. 1, 2, and 4... or excuse me. 1, 4, and Great Palace are on the west.
Also, I believe that tells us that we don't have a flute block, because then 2 and 3 are on the overworld of the east, right?
If that is the case, then yeah, we would not have a flute block unless the River Devil is somehow gating the way to Valley of Death. That's the only possible. Yeah. And it's a difficult scenario to imagine, but it could happen?
I don't know.
Wow, Xarnax is very aggressive and unfortunately not able to outlast Guma. Dr. J picking up the heart container. So Dr. J, once he makes his way to Maze Island, will end up being a heart container up, since it's very likely that he will hunt the item out. Xarnax finishing off Palace 5. Now here's the big important question. Does Xarnax go hunting for an item in Palace 5, or did you see... Oh boy.
I don't think so, yeah. Palace 5, yeah. If you can help it, don't do it. Unless you're
I
playing,
get that. It's just, that something tells me that, just to spite the runners, you're gonna have the trophy in Palace 5, and the trophy leads to Thunder. Just to have that nightmare situation.
Yeah, we don't know, because neither of the players went to Rudo to ask for hints. So that's something that could happen, and we don't know. And a heart container in the desert tile. So that rules out one of the locations.
Well, we have Medicine Cave, Spectacle Rock. Spectacle Rock obviously cannot have the hammer. We have a hammer block cave in the west, which I believe is the Medicine Cave at this point from process of elimination. So the hammer has to be on the east at this point.
Yep.
Oh, this is so savage that Palace 5 could be the hammer, for all we know. It's... there's 2 locations gated out by lack of hammer in the west.
Yeah, and 2 more in the east that require hammer. And
2 more that require hammer with... Yeah, because we saw New Kasudo was hammer block. So we have one of the P-Bag caves in the east, and I believe potentially the water tile? That's still potentially live for an item. So this is... this is ugly. Very, very ugly. Oh boy.
Yeah, and Xarnax back on the western continent, most probably looking for the town of Mito to get his downstab technique.
Oh, Dr. J, a little married to his experience, and the floating eyeball looks like it's going to be his answer here. Oh, 20-point P-Bag, but that'll do it.
Yeah.
It's all he needed. So this looks like he will be able to pick up a bonus level, life 7, but you know what? When you get these 1,000-point P bags, you know, you don't really have to manage your experience so much. But this is just so silly that we're now 49 minutes in, and it looks like we are being trolled by a lack of a hammer, gating 4 of the possible 6 final progression items. We know it's not in Palace 2, because that was a heart container, as Dr. J
We
revealed
rolled
to us.
out 4 of the palaces. It's not in 1, it's not in 2, it's not in 3, and it is not in 4. We still have Palace 5, Palace 6, and the locations you said in the overworld.
So the hammer could be in Palace 5, it could be in Palace 6, it could be in the water tile, and it could be in the remaining P-Bag cave. It wouldn't be in that tile that requires jump that Dr. J is in, I'm presuming.
And
Looks
Dr.
like Oh, go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, he is entering New Kasuto to get his ferry, but he tried to use the spell on a Moa in New Kasuto, and for some strange reason that doesn't work in Old Kasuto.
Well, if you can't see it, you can't turn it into a bit or a bot.
You can do that. You can do that in other encounters. For example, in a swamp encounter that there are Moas. If you use the spell, the Moas will turn into bots, but not in Old Kasuto. I don't know why, but it just happens. And Dr. JPHD finding one of the Piva caves. I don't know if this is the one that Xarnax missed or the one that Xarnax got.
Well, we will see soon enough, depending on what he finds. If he finds a heart at the end of it, I believe that's what Xarnax found in his cave.
Yeah, meanwhile, Xarnax finishing his business in Palace 4. And it is the hammer for Dr. J PhD.
So that would be that thing that Xarnax unfortunately did not find in his hunt for the P-Bag caves. So now Dr. J can finish up the Western continent. He'll be able to get into the Medicine Cave. He'll be able to get into New Kasuto if he remembers where it is, if he's found it yet.
Yeah, so the thing about the hammer is that it can lead you to the answer, or it can lead you into a very nice trip throughout the whole
an
Hyrule.
abyss of sorts.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, I can definitely see the hammer not working out, but
it has a big chance. You have a spell in New Kasuto, and you have 4 item locations that could lead to spells in the other towns that require items. So yeah, it has a very big probability, but it can also be a troll.
I can't think of how the hammer could actually be a troll at this point, unless we have the trophy being a meaningless spell. If the trophy is a meaningless spell, that makes the spell in New Kasuto that much more of a premium. You know, maybe my logic is a little bit off, but it feels like to me, at least, the hammer's gotta lead to something.
will see.
I mean, if
Yeah,
the
no.
hammer, leads to New Kasuto, which has, the old lady, I don't think can give us anything useful aside from the key.
So I believe we're close to one of the moments of truth of this seed, and that will happen when Xarnax finds Mito. Because he will get the downstab technique, but he will also cash in the medicine, and that will tell us what that spell is. So if it is Thunder, as chat is saying, it's kind of like a GG.
It very well could be. Xarnax has chosen his path. Dr. J, on a different path, so we'll now see which is the right path. Rebanak has the thingy. The boots. Well, we knew that already. So I'm kind of surprised Xarnax actually read that hint the whole way through.
Yeah, he was possessed by Victor Santa Fe for a moment there.
Alright, so here is the moment of truth for Xarnax. If he picks up Thunder, there is almost no way that I think he can throw away the lead in this seed, unless, for whatever reason, the River Devil somehow blocks off access to Maze Island. Or not Maze Island, Valley of Death, excuse me.
Yeah, we haven't seen it, I think, so that could happen.
Ooh, denied!
Ooh!
Life spell for Xarnax. So Dr. J is still in the game. Xarnax now has to Hail Mary the remaining P-Bag Cave in the east.
Yeah, he needs to find that or the water tile at this point.
Well, Xarnax should know where the water tile is. He walked past it a couple times, it felt like. Dr. J going to have a go at Rebanak without downstab.
Yeah, with the new features, we need to get good at this fight, especially if you're not planning to get downstab.
Well, that wasn't too bad, but unfortunately, the Rebanak just had no part of it, and he's like, no, I want my horse back.
Well, I'm not an expert in this fight. There are people that do it very well, but the thing you want, especially in this first part of it, is to stop while you are ascending in your jump. If you stop while you are descending, you're gonna get hit. So that we just saw, and by we mean Frico and I, because you're not seeing the webcam. But yeah, Dr. J kind of signaled to the screen what he said it was that you had to do, and that's stabbing Rebo while you are ascending, while he is in his horse. The next part is a bit tricky, but it's about timing more than anything. So yeah, Dr. J PhD doing a great job at the Rebonak fight without downstab.
Alright, so Xarnax now has to rely on one of two things being correct. Well, there's Valley of Death, so the River Devil is not a thing. So Flute's out, we don't need the Flute. The Cross is garbage anyway, that I don't really count that as a useful item at any point ever. Dr. J, PhD, has the hammer, and for now, that is what could potentially bring him back into this race. If we find something at Spectacle Rock or Medicine Cave, for example, this is definitely a race. Dr. J is more likely to encounter New Kasudo at this point.
And yeah, chat has a question, and I feel it is very important for us to notice, if we can, if he pauses, if he has the boots, because he was in Palace 3, but we didn't see him grab the boots, or at least I didn't. So I don't know if he has them.
I do not recall Dr. J picking up the item in Palace 3. However,
Okay, water tile. Trophy!
Oh, trophy for Xarnax on the water tile. That... Oh boy. Alright, so... Now we flip the 50-50 again. And if trophy doesn't help Xarnax, then it's the hammer to New Kasudo, which leads to Thunder. There's no other option.
Yep.
Wow, this is pretty savage. Boy. Well, Xarnax could have just floated across. Dr. J... I guess the question is, can he actually get to New Kasudo?
Yeah, I believe we don't know the overworld that much to tell if it is boot block or not. Boot or flute blocked.
Well, I don't think the flute matters, because Valley of Death was accessible to both of the runners, and neither of them went in there. However, even going into Valley of Death, you finish Palace 6, you've still got to solve the problem of, I need Thunder. So, I believe... Xarnax finding the trophy, this is going to make a very interesting run. If Xarnax gets Thunder, I think he has no choice but to basically win the race at that point. Dr. J actually poking his head in to see where medicine was. And it should have let him know that the medicine was in the east.
Yeah, it was in the other P-back cave. And, well, Xarnax in Rudo. So, yeah, get the drum roll going.
So here is the moment of truth. If Xarnax finds Thunder, he can then proceed on to basically win this seed. Dr. J finding... Oh, yep.
Oh! GG!
Alright. So, yeah, that's pretty much GG for Xarnax, as Dr. J popped open Medicine Cave to find a red jar.
Man, and this is where you hate the hammer. You'll see the trip that this hammer will make Dr. J do.
What a shame. There were so many options for Dr. J in finding the hammer, and Xarnax throws up the Hail Mary in the last possible check that he could have made before having to find the hammer.
And he was even lucky that he didn't find the hammer first, because the hammer wasn't deep. The hammer was in a pivot cave, in a normal pivot cave that Dr. J without the boots had access to. So yeah, that was really lucky. Yeah, that was really lucky for Xarnax.
Oh, so savage. But Xarnax knows where Valley of Death is, so he is on his way. Dr. J is going to have to find his way back into Palace 3 to get the boots and get back on track. Otherwise, Xarnax is going to basically have a free pass to winning this seed.
And there's the progression mini boss for Xarnax, which it being at the beginning doesn't tell you much. So unless he finds another dead end like the item or the boss, the most probable thing is that he will find a drop after this. And Dr. J in the other pivot cave that will give him the medicine. And that medicine is linked to the life spell. Which is not
medicine isn't going to help him. Unfortunately, it is boots to the water tile that is going to ultimately lead to victory. Dr. J finding the medicine, picking it up, but unfortunately, just like the hammer before it, will only serve to send Dr. J on a wild goose chase.
Yeah, hopefully he finds somehow the trophy first, but he needs to get those boots.
He can't find the trophy because he's got to get the boots. Maze Island won't really help him aside from getting Palace 5 out of the way. But I almost think Dr. J might actually end up getting re-trolled and trying to dig the item out of P5.
Yeah, that's a possibility, and I'm not sure why didn't he look for the item in Palace 3. Yeah, that's
well, we're gonna have to ask him once we if he comes in for an interview, we'll definitely have to ask about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen quite some races that have been lost because one of the players didn't dig Palace 3. I remember one that Q-Lane did a long time ago where he placed every gem like 15 minutes before all the other players, but he didn't get the item in 3, and that was the solution to everything, and he ended up being in last place.
Oh no. Well, at this point, I'm starting to think that, like, the cross and the key are in New Kasudo, unless we have, like, a troll one-up doll or something like that. I don't think we've seen Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, we haven't, so yeah.
But the best Spectacle Rock be at this point is the key.
Yeah, we're missing just a heart container, a key, and
all of
some
the heart
PVACs
containers are accounted for, actually. Palace 2. the desert tile in the east.
Oh, you're right.
Maze Island.
Yeah.
So Dr. J will find one of the heart containers in Maze Island. As Xarnax actually got a pretty good jackhammer going on Barba.
Yeah, that looks
Oh.
beautiful, man. That was a beautiful fight.
But between Xarnax's side, we see Magic Container Cave in the west. Dr. J found the heart in P2. Desert Tile and the Child's Spot in Maze Island. So Xarnax now taking the very long distance hike from the Northern Palace to Great Palace. So 109.45 for the curtain to raise on the final act for Xarnax. I believe Dr. J may have misidentified exactly which cave he found on Maze Island, but he found a pea bag. So the next drop location he finds will be his second to last heart container.
So meanwhile, Xarnax in what we call the Jackimus room. And speaking of Jackimus, we have a 4-way race tomorrow featuring Jackimus, Schmitty, Elandar, and I forgot the last guy. So yeah, tune in, subscribe to all the Zelda speedrun channels if you want to see that race, which will be very, very, very close. Those players are really tied together in terms of skills.
Yeah, all four runners are 1-1. It's Elandar versus Schmitty and Jackimus versus Chromatoclism.
Yeah, that is correct. And Chromatoclism so far well, there are a lot of newbies that are doing a great job, and he's one of those. The only race where he didn't a great job is against me, because he didn't know about hints and he didn't know about some other things about the random. But after that, he's been killing the races, and he's been very close to Rose City Sane and Trails in races like the weekly and casual races. So yeah, that's an amazing progression for a player, for a new player. And Xarnax dealing with Thunderbird.
Well, Xarnax has cleared the gatekeeper out of the way, so now it's a matter of only finding the keymaster, and we'll be able to destroy Zool.
Yeah, this kind of Thunderbird that is kind of early, but at the same time you have options before it. Kind of tends to mean that the Darling will be kind of close to it, but we will see how far it is. In contrast, when you find Thunderbird and there are no options before it, prepare yourself, because this will be a very trolley palace. Well, most of the times.
Yeah, the last thing you want to see is a drop after Thunderbird, because you're not sure, okay, does the game want me to take the drop, or does it want me to continue on? And for all you know, you could get stuck in a loop until you start to figure out, oh, yeah, I needed to go the other way.
Yeah, so Xarnax in what we call the Trails room. And yeah, as you were saying, in this case, as there were options before Thunderbird, if he takes a drop, it could lead him behind Thunderbird. So yeah, that could happen. Or now it could lead him also to the Trails room, which he just saw 2 rooms back.
Alright, well, Dr. J is working his way through Palace 5, and Xarnax finding the Eon Drop room, so I think the meta tactic is to go to the right first, but in the case of finding a dead end, we then use the emergency exit and escape downward.
Yeah, and it led him to the Trails room, so he kind of looped. But it wasn't that bad. He didn't lose that much time for taking that drop. It actually led him closer to where he had options.
Well, Xarnax didn't seem to be too interested in taking that room at the top of that elevator. So he's going to continue to the right, probably use another elevator.
Yeah, one of the kind of common sense things we random players do is if you have to go to the left, if it is a fan room, it's not a good option. And fan rooms are these rooms with bridge and lava and flying enemies that we call fan room because, as you can see, Xarnax just died in it because it was too much fun for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, taking a trip to the sauna, you know, normally would be fun, but, you know, not so much when it comes to Z2R.
Yeah, so this fun room that he just went through is different from the one he declined to go in, thankfully for him. It could have looped, but it didn't. This is new territory for him. And yeah, then A2, this game has very satisfying sounds. And I also like the sounds of the original FDS version. What I don't like about the FDS version is that the new oscillator of the disk drive, the thingy that you had to install into the FDS, it was very loud. So yeah, the effects in Zelda 2 FDS are really loud, but I like them. I like the sound design of them.
Oh no, Xarnax finding another dead end, so... Oh.
Yeah, this looks like a kind of trolley palace. We know a drop is garbage, but he already took it, so there are 3 more drops to take. And
Well, I believe Xarnax has found 2 dead-end rooms and 1 of the drops. Now, help me out here.
okay, that's the final dead-end room for Xarnax. So if he keeps going to the right in whatever he finds, he will find either a drop or Thunderbird at this point.
Well, Xarnax has already found Thunderbird, so I think you're referring to Dark Link?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And you were gonna ask me something? I interrupted you.
Somebody, you know, brought up the best sound effect being Ganon's laugh. But if I remember correctly, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out came out first between these 2 games, and that laugh, I believe, is actually Bald Bull's laugh if you lose to him in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yeah, I believe the first boss that laughed at you it was Soda Popinski, whose original name was Vodka Dronkinski.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, I was much better at the arcade game than I was the NES game. Playing Punch-Out and Super Punch-Out on the arcade cabinets, I could play those for hours, it felt like, before I finally screw up and just randomly lose a match.
yeah, that was a great game. I never played it on arcade, but I guess it was great in the arcade.
It was nothing like the NES game.
Yeah, that time arcades were way better than the home console. So yeah, porting the game meant you had to make some sacrifices. So now we see Xarnax and going through sequential drops. So yeah, this will possibly lead him to Darkling. We will see. Still missing the L7 drop. Hopefully this didn't lead him to the beginning of the palace, but it didn't. Here we are with Darkling, or Dark Zelda.
Yeah. Cat fight. Yeah, Trails is right. Little Mac in the arcade games was just a grid-shaped, boxer that you could see through for the most part.
Okay, so this moment that just passed kind of sums up the whole seed. Dr. J found a 10-handle bag in P5, which is the worst thing you can find in P5, especially at this point of the game where you don't need 1,000 points. And Xarnax just finished with a time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 52 seconds according to his tracker, but I missed the 51 seconds according to race time, which is the system we use to race.
Yeah, Dr. J unfortunately digging the item out of P5, which could have been entirely avoided if he dug the item out of a previous palace that he's visited.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. And well, this game kind of sometimes pushes you to make some bets, some gambles. Like, for example, both players did today, digging palaces early without having to. And it worked for them, but sometimes those gambles don't work at all. And this one of Dr. J PhD not digging the item in Palace 3, it punished him.
Well, Dr. J had the hammer, which felt like it could have been the right answer because it opened up so many possible checks until Xarnax found the water tile, which was the trophy, which led him to the remaining spell that was needed in Thunder. So Dr. J is now going to take on Guma. Boss Guma at that.
Yeah, we have two different type of Guma in this game.
And I don't think Dr. J is all too happy about this particular run. Unfortunately, the path that Dr. J has taken led him rather astray. I believe I've just heard an intruder alarm, and Xarnax joining us.
Think so? Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can.
Beautiful.
Well, GG.
Thanks, Victor.
Well, we like to tell you a story about this match. It was rather interesting, and there was a moment of the match
I can imagine.
where anything could have happened, and that was because of an item called the hammer.
Yeah.
And it was located at a PVAC cave that you didn't visit.
Right.
And as you can guess by now, it leads to a whole ton of garbage. So the only thing that out of value that can be hammer blocked at this point is the magic key, which unfortunately for Dr. J PhD he hasn't found. He just found the item in Palace 5, which is PVAC. And yeah, that moment when you picked up the trophy and went and found Thunder, well, that was GG for the race. But before that moment, the hammer had access to one spell and 5 items.
I was looking for the hammer for a long time because I knew it was going to open up a ton. I think for a while I had the medicine and was still exploring the West. And then at some point it clicked. I'm like, well, if the medicine leads to Thunder, then I'm in go mode. I have to stop exploring and find out for sure if I even need to keep going.
The medicine led to something like the life spell, if memory serves me correctly.
That sounds correct. Which was useful, but certainly not necessary. This was a really interesting seed to race from my point of view. My exploration was what I would typically say really unfortunate. There were a lot of things I was looking for and couldn't find them, but sometimes that ended up helping me out, particularly when I had one cave left to find in the West that had the raft in it, but I couldn't remember where I hadn't been. So I decided to just dive Death Mountain, hoping it was in there. And that paid off big time.
Yeah. Thankfully for Dr. J PhD, he kind of did the same thing. I guess the West continent was kind of weird to explore. And because both of you decided to dig palaces really early. And I was about to ask about that. Why dig in palaces that early?
I figured there was no reason not to. There were a bunch of keys in the drop table. It seemed like there was a very high chance of most palaces when I went into them that I would be able to make some progress, either get the item or find the boss, or maybe both. And I was right there. It seemed like there was no major gamble because of the number of keys that we had just from enemy drops.
And that curiously ended up giving both of you guys the 8 magic containers in like 15 minutes, which was really weird.
Oh yeah, that start was hilarious.
Yeah, and the other unfortunate thing for Dr. J PhD is that he didn't go for the item in Palace 3, which is the boots.
Yeah.
Which is a vital item for this seed because the trophy is in the water tile, and also I guess the boots help exploration quite a bit.
Oh, he still doesn't even have them. Wow.
Yeah, he needs to go back to Palace 3 to find them. So
Dr. J, he was behind, and when he found the hammer and you did not, that kind of gave the potential ray of hope to Dr. J,
right,
that he could have found, like if Thunder were in New Kasuto, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, instead of him being up Schitt's Creek, you're up Schitt's Creek, until
right.
you find that cave where the hammer was.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Karma decided to shine upon you and bestow upon you the trophy, which still could have led to nothing. I believe.
Shield was the other spell I didn't have.
Yeah, I was going to say there was another spell, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. So it was a 50-50 shot
Exactly.
on the trophy either giving you the GG or just sending you down, a giant rabbit hole
Right.
of, all right, now he's got to potentially, figure out where the hammer is and get into New Kasuto, while Dr. J PhD could have just went right to New Kasuto, which I don't think he has access to.
He should.
But Dr. J is back into Palace 3, so he's going to go hunting for an item in Palace 3, and it's going to be the item that he needs, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask about that. And well, as Dr. J's demise, besides luck, was not digging the item in Palace 3, I was gonna ask to Xarnax about the item in Palace 2, because he didn't get that item. What was going on your mind to make that decision?
I think the big thing was that I think there were two factors. I don't think I had Fairy at that point when I went through Palace 2 the first time. I don't remember how many keys I had, but I remember thinking I have enough to get through to one dead end. Probably I can maybe find the boss, or if I'm lucky, find the item. I probably don't have enough keys to full clear the palace, so if I find one or the other, then I'm probably out. I guess if I had found the item, I would have kept going until I either ran into a dead end, ran out of keys, or finished the palace. But yeah, I had to leave it behind because I didn't have the keys or the magic to get through it at the time. And I also think I had a lot of overworld stuff to look for. It made sense to peek in and dig it while I was right there because I had a couple keys, but it didn't make sense to stay once I had killed the boss.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable enough. Well, when you don't have keys or Fairy or Fairy is too expensive, you have to make that kind of gamble. And well, palaces won't move, so you can go back to them as Dr. J PhD just did, and he's about to pick up his boots.
Yeah,
which is really, really fortunate for him, because he hasn't used his hammer. The only thing he has gotten with his hammer is the blood cave in the western continent, but he hasn't gone to New Kasuto, or he hasn't gone to Death Mountain.
Well,
oh man,
that medicine cave had a real important item in it too. The red jar.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. That hammer was.
If he goes south of Palace 3, like just due south, he'll find his trophy.
I think he has something else in mind.
Clearly, yeah. This map is so easy to get lost onto. Man, it's funny. Victor said something about having trouble exploring in the West, and you obviously saw that when I went back there to get my spells. After I had the medicine, I literally walked through the entire overworld, entire West, just to find Mito again. And then after I had walked the entire thing, after I got the trophy, I had to walk it in its entirety again, just to re-find Rudo. I just could not, for the life of me, keep track of where anything was over there.
I was like, at that moment, I was like, wow, Xarnax is giving kind of some chance to Dr. J PhD to catch up, especially if trophy is not linked to Thunder. But well, things happen, and that's the here. This is well, this game requires skill, but it requires a lot of luck. You can
It
be
does.
the best player of this game, but if you do a very unlucky decision, you have a very big probability of losing the race. There's nothing that can help you.
Oh, he keeps walking around the water tile. It's really, really easy to
He
miss.
knows where the water tile is. He's seen it.
Well, those are two different
He
things.
goes a little bit further south, and
Having seen it and knowing where it is are two very different things.
very true.
But
Very true.
but yeah,
Because I
it was really
believe this area-
interesting. I like what Victor was saying just about luck. Like when I happened upon the glove before I ever found the raft, I felt way ahead. And then once I spent forever walking around trying to turn in my spell items, even after I got Thunder, I felt this could be really close now. And if Thunder had been Shield instead, then I definitely would not have felt like I had a lead anymore.
Yeah, that's the reason why I began to write maps again, because I was getting tired of there was always something that I needed to explore a lot because I forgot the location of. And with the new updates that are coming, especially with a new feature that is called the islands, which changes the overworld into islands that connect each other with bridges and caves, and sometimes they are boot blocked. I believe it will be necessary to draw maps because it is very disorienting. It is great. I love the feature, but wow.
I need to play it because I haven't really watched much of the development. I've seen a couple clips. From what I've seen so far, I am not excited at all. It seems like a nightmare to me. But I'll have to play it before I make an actual judgment call on that.
Yes, I've said in this stream quite a few times. I played my first one this afternoon, and I had mixed feelings before playing it, but I really enjoyed it. I got
That's
lost, but I enjoyed getting lost because, well, you're watching a whole new overworld. Yeah, it's different and new things. Well, it makes things entertaining. So I liked it a lot. I really liked the whole feeling of the race. Well, it wasn't a race, but of running. That's it. Oh, Dr. JPHD in Palace 6. He wasn't able to find the water tile yet.
I think he's just trolling us. But, you know... I think Dr. J is actually going for Life 9. Because if he can get 6,390 points before he figures out where Barba is, then I think he actually just breaks the game at that point.
Nah, he'll figure it out. Man, that GP too. What a mess.
Oh yeah. I kind of jinxed it because I said that when you get an early Thunderbird after you have choices, it tends to be a short palace. Again, when you find Thunderbird early, but there are no options before it almost always is a nightmare. But
I
in this
don't-
case, it was both. It was a nightmare with options behind Thunderbird.
There really weren't options before Thunderbird. It looked like there were two, but they met in the Jackamus room almost immediately.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, my routing in Great Palace is not the greatest, to put it bluntly. Definitely if I had to grade myself, it would be NI, needs improvement. At this point, Dr. J seems to be on the right track, if I remember P6. Although it has been a little bit of time between
Yeah,
when
this
you
looks
were
good.
in there and Dr. J now being in there.
I think up is correct.
So, I believe with this win, you move to 2-1.
That sounds right.
So, do you have faith in having 2 cracks at picking up that third W? Or do
Of
you
course
think
not.
the third W is just a formality?
I think I'll be lucky to get it.
Really?
Yeah, there are a lot of great players who are going to have 2 wins.
Well, there are also potentially
And-
not so great runners that may have 2 wins. I mean, it is, I think there have been 2 casualties so far. So that leaves us with 30 runners. So I think 16 runners will be 2-1 or better. If not, potentially 17 because of an awarded bye in round 2.
Are we gonna get a vanilla cross?
Could be the cross. It could be the flute. It could be the magic key,
Oh yeah.
Cross
or it
or
could be garbage.
well, yeah, it could be
I'm not
garbage.
sure that
like
it
Palace 5.
Not sure that it could be garbage at this point. We've seen almost everything.
Oh, it's the key.
Just what he wants in his last
Especially-
palace.
Yeah, in his last palace.
So
And he's got
Dr. J has dug out all of the items. Palace 1, a magic jar, which I believe you also found. Palace 2, a heart container. Palace 3, the boots. Palace 4, a magic jar. Palace 5, the pea bag. Palace 6, the any key.
how much was the Palace 5 bag? We're at
10
Oh,
a
hand
lot
of,
of thousands. A lot of thousands sitting around.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was 1,000, but Dr. J was already, his next
Yeah.
level was like 6,000, so it was worth
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, I think
There
at
was
that time his level was like 5,000 something. But his final level for attack 8 is 6,390. And he's at 4,000 or just short of
Yeah.
4,000. So
Yeah,
he
there's
is, pretty darn close to that level.
There was at least one P bag that I went back for. It was 1,000, and then I shortly after upade and didn't sweat it at all.
There was one that Dr. JP PhD got, I believe, out of Palace 3 or 4, I don't know, where he was 20 points away from a level, and he defeated the boss. So and it was he needed 20 more points. So he walked back and defeated an enemy, and that enemy threw a payback, and it was a 20-point payback. So the level was just what he needed.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Dr. J PhD about to defeat Barba. He just needs to check out Spectacle Rock, New Kazuto, and the water tile. Hopefully he checks the water tile first.
Oh, with where he is, the water tile would be the closest, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, the problem is that he's in Valley of Death. So will he walk out of Valley of Death, or will he up an A?
I am almost certain he'll up an A.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
Wow. 1,015 points from that level for the Chris. Oh, he's actually walking out of the Valley of Death.
That could be good news.
Yep. So yeah, that was surprisingly close to the level. When you said the first time that he could get attack 9, I was really skeptical about it, but it was reasonably close. Yeah.
Funny that attack 9 is cheaper than magic or life 9.
Oh yeah, sometimes the levels are really wonky.
Yeah, if he knows where New Casino is, he's definitely heading there. Yeah, man, that water tile, it's so easy to just walk around it and forget where it is and just not ever put it back on your screen.
Well, Dr. J looks like he is gonna pick up a... No, that's just a health up. Pick up a magic up, and pick up his up stab at this point.
Did you see when I was in this town? And I was looking for a healer lady and I couldn't find one?
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it happens when you ask...
Oh, Dr. J
yeah,
not down cast fairy. There we go. Now we got it.
When you ask for the hint before healing yourself, sometimes, not every time, sometimes the healer despawns. It happens.
Interesting.
So if you want to get healed, first get healed and then get the hint inside the house.
Good to know. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often, but it happens. And yeah, especially when you're really early in the Eastern continent with low levels and you're dying, yeah, it is really painful to see that the healer doesn't come out.
Alright, so Dr. J is going to pick up a spell. And chat is on the ball. Fire spell for Dr. J.
Yeah, which is linked to shield.
Certainly looked like it when Xarnax was casting it.
Yeah.
I would almost just like rage, deforest like the entire forest that's down here. Just out of like spite for the game.
I can't tell on his screen if shield changes his sprite's color.
Yeah, that's one of the problems of the skeleton sprite. It only changes the highlights, no, the shadows. I don't know how to call that part.
Right, yeah. Accents, maybe.
Yeah, that's a better word.
Well, Dr. J is definitely running over the forest tiles, and it looks like he has found an encounter while walking over New Kasudo. So we may be able to figure out what junk is in the old lady's trunk.
Yeah.
I figure it's gonna be Cross and Flute in here.
See, I was betting on Cross and like a pea bag. Or like a one-up doll.
Oh, I guess nobody's done Spectacle Rock either.
Yep. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
still a
Spectral
chance
Rock
for...
is also potential junk. But it is the flute in the old lady's trunk.
Why is he still killing stuff? That's an easy one. The race is over, and killing stuff is fun.
Yeah, fighting in this game is amazing.
The reason to play, if you ask me.
So I believe Dr. J is going to get shield here.
So yeah, I was telling Frico about the new features, and one of them is really controversial, and it is the ability of being able to read the spell that you'll get out of the town in the town sign. So what do you think about it?
I love the idea. I'm not sure how I like it in races yet. I think it's it balances things. I think it takes a little bit of luck out of the equation.
Yeah, chat was saying that.
And probably in a good way.
Yeah, when I played...
I was wrong. It was flute and pea bag, I guess, for... I looked away, and I think I see a pea bag in the spell tower.
Yeah, I think it was a 100-point bag, if I saw correctly.
Woohoo! Woo! We got a water tile. Nice.
All right,
so yeah, when I played
the has Spectacle Rock left to hundo this seed, it looks like.
When I played this afternoon, the first seed with those features, what I felt is that the game became more like a fight game, and well, there are some things that you do in this game that take a lot of time and they are not fun to do, like for example walking through towns, or walking a lot in the overworld, like for example like how you did when you found the spell items, and I think the new updates kind of shave up those time losses without making the game boring or easy. Because for example, as I was telling Frico, I finished downstabless, raftless, and shieldless, lifeless, so GP was a nightmare, but it was doable. Thankfully there were no mixed enemies. I probably will have gotten the shield spell if enemies were, but yeah, it kind of gives you that choice of do I get this quality of life spell or do I not?
Yeah, that's a great point too. It will be interesting to see people who try and shave a little time by skipping shield or life, and when there are races where that ends up being a deciding factor, those are going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I believe more than helping the beginners, it will affect them if they are not good at fighting. This new if you race like this, it will be tough on newbies.
Yeah.
So chat was saying that the balance, the balance between new players and good players, the gap between them would get bigger. But we will see. there are a lot of flags. They are all optional, so it's up to us when we race what we choose for the next tournaments. So I believe it is better to have more options.
This looks familiar. Gotta find a town, but it's been so long that he doesn't remember where it is. Looks like he's thinking, feeling the same way I did when I was doing this.
Yeah, you find all the towns except the one you're actually looking for. Because it's been an hour at this point since Dr. J has actually been on the Western continent in any meaningful capacity.
Looks like he's headed toward Parappa Pass, which is the way he needs to go.
So, to fill up the time, I'm gonna keep talking about the new updates and asking you guys what you think about those. What do you think about the cave thing that makes caves go geographically in the direction that they are pointing to, like they do on vanilla?
I think I actually like that idea.
Yeah, that sounds great. I haven't seen the implementation, but I like the concept for sure.
Yeah, for example, in Dead Mountain, I liked it a lot because, as Dick Chick said when he was testing the feature, you still have to go to that mountain and you still have to spend time on it. But for one, it doesn't have to be that much time because you know where caves live. And the other thing is that finding out Hammer Cave is way easier now because it's a cave that doesn't lead to anywhere. So it's kind of easy to find out Hammer Cave, but you still have to go in, and you can still get boot blocked, or you have to find your way, but it's not as painful as before.
I mean, having the caves, go in the direction that they're facing, it feels like it's only a cosmetic change, but it does take away a good deal of potential nonsense in Death Mountain, as well as potentially exploring in the east. If you get into the top corner or a bottom corner of a map and you go, oh, well, there's a cave facing that direction. Well, it's not taking me to the Western continent, so, oh, look, I found myself an item cave.
This was an interesting choice to walk back to Great Palace. Only explanation I can think of is that he's hoping to get that attack 9.
Well, he's working on it. He's about
1200 about.
Yeah, and it looks like he's gonna have a go at this Foca. I'm not sure if, can we count this as, a double win if he actually gets attack 9? Is that a possible victory condition in this particular run?
Well, we can kind of do a tournament of the first to reach attack 9 or something like that. It would be interesting. in kind of like a max rando situation, especially where you don't know how many gems you will get. That will be pretty funny, but at the same time, it will be horrible.
Oh, that would be like the absolute worst if you end up getting like a 0 gem seed in max rando, and it's like, oh yeah, good luck maxing your levels. Have fun. It feels like I would just go find a dripper and just be like, please give me like a decent amount of experience. And
Oh
just
man, good
farm
drippers
that.
are the best. I'm always down for a good dripper grind.
Yeah, last match, the 4-way we had like 2 hours ago, it had 300 drippers, and
Nice.
unfortunately for the guys, they found it really late where it wasn't that useful. But well, at least I
Yeah.
believe Artia got a level, like an attack 5 level out of it or something like that.
I don't know, for whatever reason, that just ended up just endlessly buffering on me, and I was just like, all right, I am not putting up with this tonight. I'll wait until the 11 o'clock, and I think this was more of a treat than the easy mode seed that those guys got.
Yeah, that's terrible. For example, one race, I believe it was in the Max Random tournament this year. My internet, not my internet, it was like my local provider connection to Twitch, because it was only Twitch that was failing for me. And man, I was solo commentating a race, and it was really embarrassing because I couldn't see anything, and the restreamer ended up like he ended up like guiding me, because he didn't know anything about Zelda 2. So he told me what happened, and I was kind of explaining to him what that meant. So it was really funny, but at the same time it was terrible and embarrassing for me.
Oh man, if there had been something to damage boost off easily for the skip in the L7 room, that could have been a really short GP.
Oh yeah.
I can't do the bubbles, but I don't know how to use those to get up there.
Yeah, the best ones are the dragons, right?
Yeah, for me, absolutely. Got a very consistent setup with them.
Yeah, in the seed that Eunice and I played this afternoon, Great Palace was really weird, and he ended up doing the L7 skip 3 times. It was amazing. And also something weird that I don't know if it is a feature or if it was a bug. I feel like it is a feature and I didn't know, and Dick Shake and Eunice are kind of making fun of me. But Thunderbird respawned in that seed. I killed Thunderbird, game over, 2 rooms away, and when I came back, it was alive. But when Dick Check told Eunice to test it, Eunice was not surprised. So I think it could be a new feature. So what do you think about that? Respawning Thunderbird?
I'm okay with it, actually.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Although, yeah, that's definitely another one that would like you're talking about features that increase the gap between experts and newcomers to the rando. That would definitely qualify.
I mean, you can't just sit there and add, okay, here's a set of training wheels, here's a set of training wheels, here's a set of training wheels. Okay,
Oh,
now
sure.
you get the big boy wheels. Time to, you gotta add something that can enhance the difficulty of a randomizer so that you don't, get rewarded for the same old. Like if you up an A in a palace, it'll just kick you back to the northern palace. Like that was part of, I think, a Max Rando tournament, and I saw that, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, because you don't have the safety blanket of just getting to a palace almost immediately up and A-ing to refill yourself before taking on the palace. And I'm like, please make this something that shows up more often. But, from a runner's standpoint, it's just absolutely terrible to encounter something like that.
Yeah, for
Especially
example,
if you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
In Great Palace, up and A-ing is kind of a basic thing we get for granted because of exploration, because we don't want to go back and redo those nasty waffle rooms again. But if now up and A-ing means you're gonna find Thunderbird again, wow, that will be painful. In some Great Palaces, that will be really, really, really painful for a player like me, for example. Or in Max Rando, wow. Like a forced attack 3 Thunderbird that you have to do more than once. Wow, that will be kind of like an instant forfeit for me. As soon as I game over, now forfeit. I won't go through this again.
Man, attack 3 is luxury.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, Dr.
I can
J
see.
popped out a red Foca. He could have farmed that for XP. He's a little over 3,000 XP away.
And he's close.
He just got 1,000 bag from a small drop, so it'll be a while before he gets another one. I'm pretty sure there was only 1,000 bag in each drop group.
Yeah, there was a key, 1,000 bag, and
1-ups, but I don't know in which one.
I wasn't really paying attention. I kind of just went, oh man, 1,000-point bags. Oh, here we go. All the levels, they're all free. Thanks for playing.
And well, that's a really controversial feature, new feature that we're playing with, and that's the 1,000 points and yeah, the whole point system we're doing. What do you guys think about it? Well, Frico has made himself clear about it, but I want to hear more opinions.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent, I guess. I guess it is less interesting to race or to play if there's a 5, 7, or 1,000 point bag in the first drop in the cycle. If the deeper in it is, the harder it is to abuse. I think like in this seed, I didn't think it made grinding completely irrelevant at all. And because there was only one of them, like to get to the next one, I would have to kill something like 56 or maybe 48 more enemies to get the next 1,000 drop. So it was still definitely a sunken cost to be able to get those.
Yeah,
I had to invest something into it.
Yeah, the lucky thing in this seed was mostly that what normally are 500 P-Bags turn into 1,000 P-Bags, more than the drops from the enemies. But yeah, I kind of feel I haven't raced enough, but I kind of feel this new point system tends to be more rewarding than punishing in terms of points. It is more often that you find high value P-Bags than finding low value P-Bags. Like, for example, having a seed that the maximum you can get is like 100 or 200. That almost never happens, and I think that could be fixed, and that would make the game interesting, to get less of the 10 handles and get more of the punishing point thingies. But well, we'll see what happens, and DigShake is clearly compensating for that fact with new features that make the game harder in some aspects.
See, 1,000-point P-Bag has its place in Max Rando, because you could have a 1 gem, no gem seed where your levels are going to come few and I can't even say far between, because by the time you're able to really get any levels, you're pretty much done with the game at that. But in a seed like this, when I see 1,000-point P-Bag, I just go, alright, we're guaranteed to have like 776 for levels, because no matter what, you're getting the freest of free levels at the beginning of the game. Add in the crystals getting dunked, and I think Dr. J is actually in a loop. So
yeah, if you look back to the beginning of the palace. Well, after Thunderbird, but really close to the beginning.
Pretty sure this is the right way.
I'll be disappointed if Dr. J does not accomplish his mission.
I don't think he's got enough palace left.
Yeah.
No, he's got like 2 or 3 rooms left.
Oh, boo. Boo!
At this point, if I had to choose the flags for the standard tournament with the current randomizer, I would take out the 500. Well, I will leave the normal drops that you get in vanilla and add up 1-ups and keys and yeah, the different stuff. But I will leave out the 500 and the 1,000. But I will leave the point randomizing thing, so that way you can still get, I believe, the 700 sometimes, and but the points won't be so high as they tend to be in every race. Okay, so Dr. J, PhD, defeats Darkling with a time of 2 hours. 12 seconds and 18 seconds.
Yeah.
Sorry, I messed up
That's
the time.
2 hours, 12 minutes, 18 seconds. Dr. J finishing off. So let's get those GGs in the chat.
Yeah, 888, 99% seed because he didn't get the cross. But apart from that, he did everything, every heart container, every magic container, every level.
Yeah, the only
every spell
thing is Spectacle Rock. So, you know, we know where the cross would have been. see if Dr. J wants to join us. I would completely understand if that is not the case. Xarnax seems to be rummaging through boxes or something back there.
Sorry.
He's looking for the hammer that he missed in the suit.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
In hindsight, I can say I'm glad I never found it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would have led to, let's see, the cross, flute, teabag, and shield.
And a red jar.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Very
can't
important.
forget the red jar. Cannot forget the red jar.
Cross might have been worth it.
I think, having to go out to Spectacle Rock to go get the cross, however.
Oh, and that Spectacle Rock, if I remember correctly, it was only 2 caves that led to it. Xarnax found
right.
it really quickly. It was kind of like the first cave you entered.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
the
that was
possibility
crazy.
of finding it wasn't that bad. But if you took the wrong way or entered that mountain through the other entrance, you probably will spend quite a lot of time finding that Spectacle Rock in this one.
Alright, well, with that said, I think we have ourselves an intruder alarm. I believe we are now joined by Dr. J.
Yeah, I thought that when I found Glove that far in Death Mountain, I thought, ooh, maybe I actually do have a chance, because who's going to dig that much? And then turns out you don't have to go that far in.
GG, man.
Well,
As it
Go
turns out, I actually dug Death Mountain. Like, I somehow just missed the raft cave. So I ended up digging Death Mountain looking for the raft.
Oh yeah, I was looking for the raft too. I think I had missed the raft cave too. It was just like, wait a minute, I thought I did that. Nope. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in the practice seeds that I've done, I've always missed like one important thing. So I'm just keeping in pattern with this.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, this time around, it was Palace 3 that ended up doing you in.
Yeah, needing the boots for convenience.
and
And-
yeah, you said you probably had a chance, and well, you had a chance like until 15 minutes before Xarnax defeated the game, because you had the hammer that Xarnax didn't find, and it could have led to Thunder, and unfortunately for you it didn't, but you had a big chance there, and well, you weren't lucky.
Yeah, anybody that was watching my cam probably saw my thoughts on that. What was in that hammer blocked cave?
Yeah, we were talking about the importance of that red jar.
It was absolutely critical to my chances here.
I was kind of rooting for Attack 9 at the end there. You were, about 1,500 experience away from achieving final victory?
Yeah, at that point, it's just like, why not? I've already got a decent amount of experience, and the P bags can be up to 1,000. So, just like, see what I can do, and just short.
Well, I guess, since you pretty much found everything, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out where you kind of went wrong.
Yeah, not finding the boots, and not actually, I would say probably not going back to get downstab as soon as I could, because that if I had kept going that way while I was in 3, I could have gotten the boots a lot sooner. But instead, I just took the took the crystal and then figured, well, I'll come back if I really need something.
It was just unfortunate on your part, because Xarnax bypassed a couple items and ended up bypassing the right items, whereas unfortunately, you bypassed a different set of items around the same time, and it ended up, making a compelling story, but it also was going to make a very clear victor for whoever found Thunder first. And with you having the hammer, whereas Xarnax had boots and trophy, if New Kasuto had Thunder, you would have had a massive advantage over Xarnax, but unfortunately it was not to be.
Yeah, and at least I didn't 100% this seed. I didn't get the cross. But that was, yeah, gambling on stuff sometimes just blows up in your face, and that's what happened tonight.
And speaking of gambles, I was about to ask you the same thing I asked Xarnax, and it is about early palace exploration. And I've seen that you've done that in almost every race in this tournament, that every palace you find, you dig it up without having fairy, without having keys. So I wanted to ask you about why you do that.
I think probably just to see if there's anything that I can grab to get an early advantage, or if it is something that isn't, or just get some early knowledge if it's something that I know is going to be a block that's right there, or also experience too sometimes, because I like to get you've seen my levels on there now, how I usually go with them.
Oh yeah, we noticed about that possibility of attack 9. That almost happened, and I was really skeptical, especially when you were really high on points in Palace 6, and Frico said he was gonna get the level, and I was like, no way. And you were like also 1,000 points away, really, really close to that level. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I think I found probably less than 2,000 to go. It's like, well, that's not worth it. As much as I would have wanted attack 9.
Well, so your current situation, I believe, is 1 victory, 2 defeats. Am I right?
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Okay, so you still have a chance if you defeat your next 2 opponents. How do you feel about that possibility? Do you think it will happen?
I mean, I think as long as I don't make bad gambles like tonight, I think there's a good chance of that. Before I would really over-prepare for things, and I think I've tightened up how I've been playing more than that, so I think I've got a decent chance as long as I just make the right plays here.
Yeah, I think you have a good chance. You surprised us today with some very good fights, like the downstabless Ribbon fight, which Xarnax was also forced to do. And well, I've seen in your races that you get out of some tight situations with great skill, with great fighting skill. So yeah, I think you have a good chance of winning those 2 races. Let's hope you don't get some monsters to fight against.
I hope not, yeah.
Okay, guys, so I believe we can wrap this one up. It was really fun. We talked about the new features of the randomizer, and it was a fun race. It could have gone either way, and that's what we want out of a race. So yeah, we're thankful to the Zelda 2 randomizer gods. And yeah, any final thoughts from Frico and from you guys who raced?
I don't think so. Just GG, and thanks. I know there was some scrambling to get this restream thrown together last second, so thanks for everyone who pitched in to make that happen.
Yeah, GG, and thanks to everybody that pulled together at the last minute there.
Well, thank you guys for giving us an exciting race, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. And well, I gotta give a big shout out to Frico for helping me making this really entertaining and informative, and to the team of Zelda Speedruns. So yeah, thank you guys for making this happen.
No problem. Just a couple matches tomorrow, though. If you're all maybe interested in this thing. Let's see, we have, in the morning, this time we have Buzz versus Elso at 11 a.m. Eastern. We have, then it looks like another pair of matches at the same time with Jackmas and not even gonna, I give up on pronouncing it, and Lindar versus Schmitty. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then another match at 11 p.m. Eastern. So that's all just Z2R. But then there's also a lot of Minish Cap Rando tournament tomorrow, and then a Majora's Mask Rando tournament match as well tomorrow. So check out the calendar, watch for notifications as channels kind of get decided. Any final thoughts?
No, guys, thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.